Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I created this makeup look. To start off, I went ahead and moisturized my skin. I like to use a moisturizer that's oil-free and contains some sort of SPF to protect my skin from the UV rays. For priming my skin, I'm using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I've tried multiple primers for minimizing my pores and I find this one does the best job. I'm taking about a pea-sized amount and emulsifying it between my index fingers. This is going to soften it and help it spread better. I'm concentrating it in my T-zone where my trouble spots are by rubbing and pressing it into my skin. For foundation, I'm using Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 in the shade 01 Creamy Vanilla. This is a thicker consistency foundation with a natural finish. I find that this is a medium to full coverage foundation. To apply it, I'm using the Morphe Highlight and Contour Beauty Sponge. I like to use a stamping motion starting on the outer parts of my face, working inward to keep the center of my face from getting too cakey. Make sure you blend down your neck and on your ears to ensure you have no harsh lines. Now for concealer, I'm going in with e.l.f. Cosmetics 16-Hour Camo Concealer in the shade Light Sand. This is a thicker consistency, full coverage concealer. I like to use a few shades lighter to brighten the center of my face. I apply it under my eyes in a triangle shape, down the sides of my nose, the center of my nose and forehead, my chin and cupid's bow. Now to blend. I like to start with my chin and finish with my under eyes. For setting my under eyes and other concealer areas, I'm going to use Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade Fair Light. You want to make sure that there are no creases in your under eyes before setting it with powder. I'm pressing it into the skin using the same Morphe sponge that I used to apply the concealer. Once I've finished setting the concealer spots my face, I'm going to set the rest of my face using CoverGirl True Blend Minerals in the shade Light. I'm picking this up with a fluffy powder brush. The one that I'm using is a pointed blending brush from BH Cosmetics. For bronzing my face, I have recently been loving the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm using a brush I got in a BH Cosmetics brush set. I've looked everywhere to find one similar, and the only one I could find is the Sigma F83 Curved Kabuki brush. I find this shape brush gives you a bronzed and contoured appearance simultaneously. I apply my bronzer in the hollows of my cheeks, along my temples/hairline, and the bottom of my chin. To bronze my nose and lower lip, I'm using a smaller blending brush. To bake, which is going to create crisper lines, I'm going back in with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. I'm picking it up with the Morphe Highlight and Contour Sponge. I connect from the tracheus of my ear to the corner of my mouth. I'm also going to do the sides of my nose and using the very edge down the center of my nose. To keep a clean edge while doing my eyeshadow, I'm also going to place it where I want the shadow to stop. For the eyeshadow look today, I'm going in with the James Charles Morphe palette. The first color I'm going in with is Skip. I'm using a blending brush. A great one would be the Morphe M330 Blending Crease. I'm first packing the shade into the crease on what's considered a wet base. Once I have the color built up, I'm going to slowly blend out the edges using circular and windshield wiper motions. Next, I'm going in with the shade Pinkity Drinkity on a Morphe M452 Blending Fluff Brush. This shade is going to softly diffuse the edges. I'm using mainly windshield wiper motions on the outside, and once I get closer to the inner corner, I use the circular motions. Now I'm going in with the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette from the Vault collection. I'm picking up the shade Sparks on a Morphe M411 pointed blender. I'm placing it on the outer corner and bringing it into the lower crease. Once I have the color on, I'm going back with my previous blending brushes to blend out those shades. On the rest of my lid, I'm picking up Blink Bling on my finger, packing the shade on, and stamping motions. If you wanted to use a brush, you could use a flat, dense packing brush and spray it with a little bit of setting spray to give it a similar payoff. To wipe away the remaining powder from baking, I'm using a BH Cosmetics flat top buffer brush. For the lower lash line, I'm using the same shades and brushes to smoke out the lower lashes to balance the top lid. I lined my upper waterline with a black pencil and my lower waterline with a white pencil. I then curled my lashes and coated them using Essence the False Lashes Mascara Extreme Volume and Curl. For blush, I'm going in with Milani Blush in the shade Tea Rose on a BH Cosmetics contour brush. Any angled blush brush would work great. I'm stamping it on the apples of my cheeks and blending it back. For highlighting, I'm using Benefit Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Cookie. I'm using a larger blending brush such as a Morphe M50 Pro Round Blender. I'm highlighting the top of my cheekbones, my chin, my cupid's bow, above my brow bone, and down the bridge of my nose and tip. Then with a more precise highlight brush, I'm going to spot highlight with the Jaclyn Cosmetics loose highlighter in the shade Extra. I'm doing this on the highest part of my cheekbones, my tip of my nose, and down the very center of it, and my cupid's bow. I'm also going to use the same highlighter to highlight the inner corner of my eye and brow bone. I'm picking it up on a dampened Morphe E24 bullet crease. And this is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you in my next one. Alright, thanks. Bye guys.